How you feeling?
I feel good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So who am I? I'm Laurie Handlers. And how I got to where I am, it's a crazy story, sort of, but I kind of give you the short version. I was always a teacher, and I've always been powerful. I've always had a message, even from when I was a little girl. And I started teaching elementary school, and then I taught college, and then I taught in industry for corporate America, and then I went to work at Landmark Education Corporation, which produces the course, the Landmark Forum. I was the top enrollment manager in the world. Like, I put more people into the Landmark Forum per capita. I didn't live in the biggest city, but I was in Washington, D.C., so I put more people in the forum than anywhere else on the planet, given the population that we had. I didn't have New York or Tokyo or whatever, but I broke all records. And my body broke down because I was always trying to break my record. It wasn't healthy for me. And so I left. I left in 1996. 10 years before, I had seen an article about Margot Anand, and I always knew that sex was more than this, friction, this. But first of all, I could never find a partner who wanted to explore that with me. They were always scared, like really scared. And in 1986, I read an article in Yoga Journal about Margot Anand, and I said, this is it. This is what I'm looking for. She knows something that I know. Internally, I know it, but I don't know how to access it. When I left in 1996 from Landmark, which is I considered also corporate America, just it was transformational, I found my first Tantra course. It wasn't with Margot Anand, but nonetheless, I found my first Tantra course. And the first day in the course, I went, this is it. This is who I am. I remember who I am now. I remember that I have a body. I remember who I am as a woman, because at Landmark I had to put my sexuality into my desk drawer and leave it there. So all of a sudden everything changed. At that time I was doing consulting to the federal government, state governments, and city governments. Under the Clinton administration, I was doing welfare to work programs, taking people off the welfare rolls and getting them a job ethic, like a container, how to go to work when generations hadn't gone to work, for decades. So I was teaching Tantra. I took a Tantra teacher training program, blah, 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 and I started teaching Tantra sometimes, on weekends, and definitely not full time because I had big things going on in the government. And then George W. Bush was elected, and he gave all those programs to churches. And I don't run a church, and I'm never going to run a church. And so I just went, well, sex always sells, and so my life is now going to be about sex. And that's it. I never looked back. I've had no regrets. Sex does always sell. When I first started, there weren't that many Tantra teachers in the world. Now they're kind of like Starbucks. They're on every corner and every nook and cranny. But clearly there's a need in the world for people to become sexually empowered. When a person is sexually empowered, they can't be controlled. And that's really what has to happen in this world. People have to let go of the institutions and the fears and the shame and everything that's controlling them. They need to get free and get sovereign. So that's what took me to here. So I have a few focuses. One is I own a company called Butterfly Workshops, and Butterfly Workshops has its own repertoire of courses. So I have 3 levels of Tantra. I have a beginner class, intermediate class, and advanced class. I also have a class in sex magic, how to create and feel your intentions by using sexual energy, and I have a leadership course that came out of the welfare to work stuff. And now I have an apprentice program, and I have apprentices all over the world, and I'm teaching them to teach those courses. And it's virtual. They don't come to me. We do it through Skype or Zoom or something like that every month. And that's really fulfilling something in me that's been wanting to happen for a long time. So that's one piece of what I'm doing. The other piece of what I'm doing is that I'm a lead faculty on for ISTA, International School of Temple Arts. And so I lead all over the world courses for ISTA. I currently lead level 1, which is SSSEX, Spiritual, Sexual, Shamanic Experience Training. And I co-facilitate level 2, SIN, SSSIN, Spiritual, Sexual, Shamanic Initiation. And that's very fulfilling, and it's taking up more of me. It's like there's a demand for it worldwide, and so it's fulfilling a couple of my wonders and my desires, which I love travel. I love being independent. I'm fiercely independent, and I love going all over the world, and I love bringing the course all over the world. In particular, I love India, and I just seeded India with the first ISTA training along with 2 other facilitators, and it was, wow, just to bring this work back to India. Because India is devoid of sex. I mean, so 2 things are happening. At the same time as I'm doing a lot of ISTA courses, I'm also disseminating my body of knowledge to others who will carry on my brand, Butterfly Workshop stuff, which is thrilling and exciting. And then I have this other passion, which is, well, actually 2. I'm part of a community of people called People Unlimited, and we don't want to die. We believe that time has come for human beings that they don't have to follow the course of death just because everybody else died. And people call us crazy, and they think we're nutty, or they call us a cult, or whatever they call us. I don't really care. My whole life is based around being on the edge of something, so I might as well be on the edge of life. So I'm on the edge of life and death, refusing to die. And we've created a conference called RADFest, Revolution Against Aging and Death. And all these scientists come to RADFest who are doing remarkable things to reverse aging and to prevent people from dying. They're doing experiments like you can't believe. And I'm also a speaker at RADFest, and I speak about sex and aging, why it's so important to have sex. Everyone should be having sex, even if they don't have a partner, even if their partner died, even if they're paraplegic, even if they're in wheelchair, anything. People should be having sex well into their lives. Sex is one of those things that nurtures every cell in the body. It fills the brain with the kind of cocktails that it's supposed to have. Endorphins, dopamine, oxytocin, all kinds of things that go through the bloodstream and feed the brain happen during sex. And so people need to have sex even if it's just with their own 2 hands, or 1 hand, or 1 finger, or their electric toothbrush. So that's a big message for me. I just happened to be part of this community, and so I was the prime person to be in the niche of speaking about sex to the masses. So in our first RADFest last August, I spoke to the largest audience I've ever spoken to in my whole life. I got a standing ovation from 1,000 people. And it was, and I only had 10 minutes, it was like a short talk, but I said to everybody, touch yourselves. I don't care how old you are. It will rejuvenate you if you keep your juices flowing. So that's one of my loves at the moment. And then my other passion has been a passion of mine for a while, which is working with young people. So it's not, this is getting into the works, but it isn't a thing yet. It isn't totally materialized. I've done a lot of sex magic around it, which is to have a television show, a reality show, where I go to college campuses and teach people really about sex, really about the joy, the bliss, the ecstasy of what it is to have sacred sexuality with another or others or self, and actually understand consent, what it is to have it consensual, be consensual, and what it is to have boundaries. And I want to say that it's in reaction to the sexual assaults that have taken place on at least American college campuses. I don't know if it's happening. I don't know that it's happening anywhere else in the world. I think it's probably not happening the way it's happening in America, where everything is so materialized. The human body is such a material object. Anyway, I don't want to go there and scold people and wave my finger at them. I actually want to go there and expose to them what is possible when you have consensual, agreed upon sexual activity with another. You don't need to take advantage of them or give them a roofie or get them into a comatose state to take them out. What you want to do is take each other to another galaxy, and that's what's possible with sex when you know how to do it, when you know how to breathe, squeeze, and make sound in just the right ways, and when you have a conversation for the possibility of what can we create together that's so ecstatic. I just would never want to have sex that isn't ecstatic. Why would I? And I have in my life before, but I've never been taken by force. And I never would want to be taken by force, nor would I want to twist anyone's arm to want to be with me. Why would I want to drug somebody? So that's my current focus in terms of my creativity, what I'm doing now. I've already produced and starred in 2 films, a feature film and a short film. They've won numerous awards in film festivals, and I just now want to go to TV. I have a radio show. I've been broadcasting for over 10 years. It's called Sex and Happiness. I have a book called Sex and Happiness. And basically I call myself a sex and happiness coach. If I say I'm a Tantra teacher, people don't understand what that is. It's too esoteric. So I just say I'm a sex and happiness coach, and they go, oh yeah, got it. It took me years to figure that out, that I named my book that for a reason. I named my radio show that for a reason, but I didn't get it until recently. Oh, I'm a sex and happiness coach. So I don't think that you could have one without the other. I don't think you could be super happy if you're not having great sex. And I don't think you can be super sexy if you're not happy. Like I just, so in the courses, in the ISTA courses and in my courses, we give you the tools to get to joy. We give you the tools to get to inner peace, to get to joy, to get to the love, and to get free of public opinion and all the things that society and our parents and religion foist upon us before we're old enough to actually push it off. And it makes such a deep hole in our soul that we have to reclaim ourselves, and that's what the process of all the courses does. It helps us reclaim our power and get free so we can't be controlled. Being out of control is really cool. So that's pretty much what I'm up to, and I love my life. I can't even, some days I wake up and I just go, how did I create this? Who knew this would happen to me? It's not anything my 7th grade guidance counselor told my parents. I have no idea if that guy's still alive, but if he is, if he's seen, everyone I went to high school with knows what I do. People, my best friend from 2nd grade knows what I do. I'm out there in the world. I don't hide anything from anybody. My life is like a public thing. And I feel so honored. I feel so privileged. I feel so abundant. I feel so alive. And I feel sexy and happy. And that's the most important part. So that's it.
Wonderful. Do you have any advice or something you want to give to anybody watching, couples or individuals?
Well,
most powerful or...
well, the most powerful thing I can tell you is you want to be sexy and happy. If you're not feeling sexy or happy, don't blame, first of all, don't blame your partner or your ex-partner or whatever. Don't blame anybody. Just take charge of your life. So my word of advice would be to find yourself a teacher, find a book at least, at minimum find a book. You can start with my book, Sex and Happiness. It's really an easy read. It's just like me talking to you. It's about 140 pages. It's really short, but it has everything that I practice is in that book and everything that I would give people. So find something to read, find a teacher, go on an adventure, take your body on an adventure and let your mind get a little jiggled up. And yeah, just get free. Get free. Find a way to get free. Like, and free your kids too. Find a way for you to get free and then let them free. Set them free of some of the public opinion and the things that people then internalize. They internalize public opinion and then they're not free. They can't even hardly breathe. People are so uptight. So that's a big piece of it. And then consider, there's an invitation to consider not dying. I know that's big. You're probably listening to me and going, this woman is crazy. And you know what? Consider that within the next 10 years, you will have a choice. You will be faced with a choice. Humans have never been faced with a choice like this before. They've thought about it. Even Benjamin Franklin thought about it. He wrote about it in a book. And Napoleon Hill wrote about sex magic in Think and Grow Rich. I mean, these things have been around. People who are empowered knew to start questioning this. So consider that in the next 10 years, you, whoever you are, hearing my voice, will listen, will have a choice about how long you want to live.
Incredible.
But you might as well live free. Like if you're going to live that long, you might as well get free. Like there's no point in living in a decrepit, unsexy, and unhappy way. You know, so find yourself a class, find an ISTA course. They're all over the world. Invite me with my butterflies to come to your neighborhood or your neck of the woods or whatever part of the world you're in. Because we'll come and we'll bring you something that maybe you never considered before. And for some people, this is a new conversation, and it's very powerful. And even if you're afraid, still do it. Feel the fear and do it anyway. And that's not my original statement. I borrowed that from somebody. But feel the fear and do it anyway. Why would you want to have an unblissful, unecstatic life? There is a Laurie-ism here. If we were not meant to have pleasure in our bodies, we wouldn't have been born in skin. We would have been born in wood, metal, or glass. But we weren't. Skin is an amazing, amazing thing. It's built for pleasure. So have it.
And how do we connect with you? How do we work with you?
You can find me anywhere. Well, if you just type in Laurie Handlers, you'll find a gazillion pages. You can write to me, Laurie at butterflyworkshops.com. That's Laurie at butterflyworkshops with an S on the end, as my last name Handlers has an S on the end. You can write me an email. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter. I have numerous accounts. You can, if you don't remember me, but you remember Butterfly, you can type in Butterfly Workshops. You can find me on Instagram. You can find my radio show, Sex and Happiness, on the internet. It's a podcast. You just type in Sex and Happiness. You'll find my book. You'll find my radio show. I'm very open to people connecting with me. I don't have a secretary who answers my emails. I pretty much answer everybody unless they bug me. Do not send me a picture of your private parts, ever. You'll never hear from me. And do not go on Facebook and write me, hi, how are you? You bug me. Don't do that. If you want to know something, write me a message that says you want to know something, or you want to study something, or you want a recommendation. I'm happy, more than happy, to share with you that which I know, or point you in a direction. Oh, and by the way, the people who do this work, not only me, but the people who do this work, my brothers and sisters who are in the realm of sacred sexuality, teaching about sex, we don't do it for free either. So don't write us your big burning question about erectile dysfunction or whatever and expect that we're going to give you the whole answer in a paragraph in a chat on Facebook. It takes a little more than that. So this is our right livelihood. You wouldn't do that to your lawyer or your dentist or your doctor. Don't do that to us either. We really value what we do, and we want to give it to you. Make it reasonable for us to give you our knowledge. In what I said before, it may have occurred like landmark education isn't a good thing, but it is a good thing. I wouldn't have worked there if it wasn't a good thing. So the fact that I burned out, I had a lot to do with that. So when I left, I wasn't in a good space. However, I strongly recommend, if you do nothing else, do the landmark forum. I mean, if you're afraid of sex, but you want to at least find out how to communicate and have transformation alive in your life, at least do the landmark forum, at minimum. I would start there often. And lots of times people who come to take Tantra classes from me or ISTA classes from me, I then tell them to take the landmark forum. My apprentices all take the landmark forum. It just makes it easier to communicate all the way around. We're on the same page. We understand transformation. So I want to say that too. Even though I'm no longer involved with the organization, I still recommend the training or something like that. Well, I could tell you my mission statement.
Yes.
Which is so funny that I'm here and mission statements that have been put down all week. But my mission statement is women and men dancing in eternal ecstasy on earth now. And it's the first time I've ever had a statement like that where I'm actually included. So I've had lots of visions before about things in the world, but I always thought it would happen in the future. So far, I wouldn't still be alive. You know, I wanted the planet to change. I wanted to end racism. I wanted to, whatever. And I was brought up to believe that those things would be cured by the time I was an adult. My father was a Pollyanna. My father was a Pollyanna. So he believed that all that would be cleared up by the time I got out of college. Of course, that wasn't true. So this time, women and men dancing in eternal ecstasy on earth now, I actually am involved in that dance on a daily basis, and I'm in it. It's not in the future, it's actually my life. And everything I do falls under that umbrella of us ecstatically dancing, wherever we are, whatever we do. And I'm right there with you. I'm not separate from the process. I'm in there.
Wow. Beautiful.